Okay, here's video number 2 to go back through these answers. Alright, so 4 times 2 is 8. R to the negative 3 times r to the second. Remember, I can write negative 3 plus 2 because I know that I can add my exponents. So my final answer, not my final answer, but one of my answers is going to be 8r to the negative 1. But in most terms, I don't ever want to leave a negative exponent unless I really have to leave a negative exponent. But for now, you're going to practice not having a negative exponent. Okay? So what do we remember r to the negative 1 being? Well, r to the negative 1 is 1 over r, which means 8 times r to the negative 1 equals 8 over r, and that's your final answer. Okay? I can write this in exponential form by keeping it to the negative, okay? Or I can change 8 to 2 cubed, so I can also write this as 2 to the third power r to the negative 1. I can write this a bunch of different ways, but for all intents and purposes, that one is the answer for this worksheet. Here we have 8k to the 5th. Here we have 12. Ooh, here we go. A to the negative 1, b to the negative 1. So we have to remember, what is a to the negative 1? It's 1 over a. B to the negative 1 is 1 over b. And then my 12 is a beautiful whole number. So my final answer is 12 over ab. Next, we know that this is 1. It doesn't matter anything else. As soon as we see to a 0 power, everything turns into 1. And again, I will post a video explaining why that's so, okay, by using scientific notation, but we'll get to that later. Okay? Now this number is 1. No, it's not. That was my mistake. Look at this. This is tricky because you see this and you think this entire thing is 1, but it's not. It's really 4 times 1 to the 4th power. That's tricky. Okay? So, it's 4 to the 4th power, which we already learned is 64. Not 64. 16 times 16 is 256. Okay. Let's go up and do this one here. Okay, this is 8n. Do we understand why this is 8n? Let me show you some more. 4 times 2 is 8. N to the 4th times n to the negative 3. And I can write those in as my exponent. And of course, that comes out to be n to the 1st. So I write 8n. And I can write that in exponential form too. We know, oops, I'm going to bring this over here. Let me bring this here so you can see it. 8 is 2 to the 3rd power. Okay? So with base 2, 8 can be written as 2 to the 3rd. Okay, let's finish this up. We can do this in about a minute. 2 times 2 is 4. X to the 3rd times x to the negative 1 is 3 plus negative 1, so 4x squared. Y to the negative 3 times y to the 3rd is y to the 0, which is 1, so I leave it alone. Last one. No, not last one. Next one. X squared times x cubed is x to the 5th. Y to the negative 4 times y to the 2nd is y to the negative 2. But we don't want to leave a negative exponent. We know that y to the negative 2 is y over 1 over y squared. Okay? How do I write this all up together? This is a positive exponent, so it stays in the numerator. So my final answer, and I'm running out of ink. Got to get a new ink. My final answer is x to the 5th over y squared. Last two. 2 to the negative 4. Well, that's a little tricky, right? So I'm going to write it over here. 2 to the negative 4. What is 2 to the negative 4? It is 1 over 2 to the 4th. Okay? Then x squared to the negative 4 is going to be x to the negative 8. And what is x to the negative 8? X to the negative 8 is 1 over x to the 8th. So when all is said and done, I have 1 over 2 to the 4th times x to the 8th. And I can simplify this base 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. 1 over 16 x to the 8th. That's my final answer on that one. Let's make sure that's nice and focused. And last, and this one is a little easier because it doesn't have any negatives. 4 squared is 16, 8 to the a to the 6th, excuse me. And I can write this a bunch of ways, right? I can write this as 4 squared a to the 6th. I can write this as 2 to the 4th, a to the 6th, depending if I want to change my base or not. But again, for all intents and purposes, 16, 8 to the 6th is your final answer. I'll pull out a little bit so you can see the entire page if you want to pause it. Look again.